On the news, fresh leadership in the All Progressive Congress as Nentawe Yilwatda emerges as the new national chairman, pledges to expand and unify the party ahead of 2027. PDP acting national chairman Umar Damagum says former coalition defectors are returning to the party in droves. And court orders police to pay EndSARS protesters 10 million naira for right violation. It's a pleasure to have you join us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Okbayemi Owoshemi. We begin with security as troops of the Nigerian military have fought an attempted infiltration into Mongono town and Bita community at the Lake Chad region by Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists after scores of them, including a top commander, were neutralized in the midnight operations. The senior kid commander, identified as Ibn Khalid, was killed along with the terrorist cameraman in the first gun battle that ensued in the Bita community, where troops of the Nigerian army engaged the terrorists while repelling the attacks. According to the theater commander, Northeast Joint Task Force Operation Adankai, Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar, 17 other terrorists were killed in different locations within Sambisa, cutting across Madagali local government area in Adamawa and Kaga in Borno State. An unspecified number of the terrorists escaped with varying degrees of injuries. To politics now, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Nentawe Yilwatda, has emerged as the new national chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC, following his nomination and election by the members of the National Executive Committee of the party. The chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Governor Hope Uzodinma, nominated him for the position, and the motion was seconded by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin. The motion was then put to a voice vote and passed by NEC members present at the meeting in Abuja on Thursday. 56-year-old Yilwatda from Plateau State takes over from Abdullahi Ganduje as the chairman of the party after Ganduje resigned from the position in June 2025, citing personal reasons. In his acceptance speech, the new APC national chairman pledged to unify all arms and stakeholders of the party across the country.
Let me express my profound gratitude to God and the leadership of the party, from the president to the governors and the National Assembly members and all members of NEC, for reposing this big burden and trust also in me to lead the party at this junction. Let me thank you also for picking me among millions of members of this party, and the party will see me good enough and responsible enough to take this party to the next level. I do not take this mandate for granted. I want to accept it with gratitude and with my full heart and full mind to work together with you to build the party, knowing that all of us here are the mechanics of the party, and the party is our vehicle, and we'll fix it and move it to our destination of choice. I pledge without hesitation that I will work with everybody in the party, I'll unite the party, I'll build the party, I'll expand the party with you as the focus and the building block and the support that I will require to drive the party as needed by all of us so that we can fulfill the dream of Nigerians who have reposed their hope in the Renew Hope agenda. Lastly, I'll trust and look up to the leadership of the party, members of the party, and all of you seated here for us to fulfill the dream that Nigerians have on the APC.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has revealed plans to build a new national secretariat for the All Progressive Congress in Abuja. Speaking on Thursday at the 14th APC National Executive Committee meeting held at the State House Conference Center in Abuja, President Tinubu disclosed that an appropriate land to build a befitting secretariat will be found. The Muhammadu Buhari House is the current APC National Secretariat located in Wuse to Abuja. The party's Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee named the building after Buhari in June 2021 after the party completed a payment of 2.5 billion naira for the property and subsequently moved its operation there later that year.
With the space that we have created to allow the aspiring people to join us, our doors are still open, and we should embrace them wholeheartedly. And if you look at it before the end of this meeting, I formed the party of elders as the new chairman wishes to form a committee of national working members to move around the state, the country, and ensure that those who had joined us enjoy the registration and the membership of our party without any difficulty. Yes, we should leave a legacy of development, and the governors are here, 23 of them, to help identify with the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and we should put a committee together of progressive governors to find an appropriate land and build a befitting secretariat.
Still on politics, the acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Umar Damagum, has disclosed that several members who left the party to join a rival political coalition are now returning. Damagum made the revelation on Thursday at the party's 101st National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja, where he dismissed the coalition as a failed political experiment and reaffirmed the PDP's readiness to reclaim power in the 2027 general elections. In his remarks, Damagum praised the resilience of the PDP, describing it as the only party with a structure, national reach, and legacy strong enough to lead Nigeria forward. He noted that the reversal wasn't limited to PDP members alone, revealing that some individuals from other parties who joined the coalition had also returned, describing the alliance as ill-fated.
Some persons have recently learned these truths in the most uncomfortable way. Many who jump on from one side to the other return to our fold. Some even claim they have never left. With this, I want to leave a word that what you see here today, the serenity, the calmness and the composure of this neck attests to the fact that PDP is still one and waxing stronger.
This is not time for calling names. This is not time for abuses. We sympathize for those who became impatient and left, but certainly they will understand their follies. Where we'll still leave the door ajar for them to come in when they wish to, within a time limit. We will not continue to condone indiscipline. because indiscipline is what brought us all the problems and challenges. Definitely, the party has shown resilience, and the governors are going through a lot of challenges, just like the NWC.
One of the vital ingredients that has been lacking in our past meetings that questions the legitimacy and legality of some of the decisions that we take is available today. The INEC is here. And so whatever we have been doing to ensure that PDP remains one family, the one single family, that formidable movement since 1999 is vindicated by the presence of all elements that make up a very veritable party organization.
Away from politics now, the Federal High Court in Lagos has awarded 10 million naira in damages against the Nigeria Police Force for violating the right of #EndSARS protesters during a memorial rally in 2024. Officers of the Lagos State Police Command arrested at least 20 demonstrators at the site and detained them in a police van for several hours before releasing them without charge. In a judgment delivered on Thursday, Musa Kakaki held that the police breached the fundamental rights of the protesters who had gathered at the Lekki toll gate on October 20, 2024 to commemorate the 4th anniversary of the EndSARS demonstrations. The suit, filed as a fundamental rights enforcement action, was instituted by 22 individuals alongside 3 civic organizations, Education Rights Campaign, Take It Back Movement, and the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. The applicant had sought redress for what they described as unlawful arrest and violation of their constitutional right to freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. The House of Representatives Committee on Federal Capital Territory Judiciary has pledged to leverage legislative interventions to ensure the timely dispensation of justice in the FCT. The chairman of the committee, Adamu Gamawa, disclosed this in Abuja at a public hearing on 2 bills. The first bill seeks to amend the 1999 Constitution to provide for an increase in the number of judges in the FCT, while the second is an establishment bill covering lower courts of the FCT with jurisdiction over civil and criminal causes and matters. Gamawa emphasized the House commitment to timely justice and reducing the burden on existing judges. He said the reforms align with Speaker Abbas Tajuddin's vision of making justice affordable and accessible to all residents.
Well, there are 2 bills actually. One is to increase the number of judges in the FCT to at least no less than 100. We all know that the federal capital is expanding every day. People are coming in. Wherever you have so many people, you expect to have some disputes. So the burden of the cases on the present number of judges is very, very cumbersome. So we want to pass this legislation, which is also a constitutional amendment, so that we have more number of judges in the FCT to have less cumbersome cases on the judges as this is presently. Then the second one is to establish lower courts, magistrate courts at the lower level. There's no law actually backing them. The law establishing them is an old one since 1960s. So there are so many conflict of jurisdiction within the law presently. So we want to see where we can seamlessly apply these laws to our people. And don't forget that if we don't have this kind of laws, there will always be conflict of jurisdiction, people challenging the court. So I think it's very important we have these laws.
The Nigerian Senate has adjourned for its annual recess, which will last for 2 months. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made the announcement during plenary on Thursday, saying the Red Chamber will reconvene on Tuesday, September 23, 2025. He urged the lawmakers to use the period to complete their various reports and also conduct oversight functions, while also directing ad hoc and other committees to continue their work during the period.
The suspension is just plenary sittings. All ad hoc committees should continue to work. All necessary committees, Diaspora Committee, Committee on Reparation, Committee on Interior, and others. This is the best time for you to undertake visits to prisons and all that. Do all your reports and make them available as soon as we come back. We'll have a special day to consider all reports. And then all the other committees, reports extended to you, you must also make sure that those reports are ready for Senate scrutiny when plenary commences. You are moving from plenary for the next few weeks, but you are not stopping your legislative functions because that's what your people elected you to do.
Well, let's now head to Lagos, where in a major policy development aimed at closing the gender gap and driving inclusive economic growth, the state government has officially launched the domestication of the National Women's Economic Empowerment Policy Roadmap. Held in Lagos, the event brought together public officials, stakeholders in gender policy, and private sector leaders in a concerted effort to advance gender equality in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals, especially Goal 5. TV360's Joy Uchejin brings us more in this next report.
Amid ongoing challenges of gender disparity hindering inclusive growth, the Lagos state government is implementing targeted measures to reverse the trend. The launch of the Women's Economic Empowerment Policy Roadmap marks a significant stride in breaking down the structural barriers holding women back from full economic participation. The Women's Economic Empowerment Roadmap rests on 5 key pillars: agriculture, entrepreneurship, traditional labor markets, emerging industries, education, and skill acquisition. In her welcome address, the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Cecilia Dada, highlights challenges women face in education, skill acquisition, and access to labor markets.
This roadmap offers a well-defined strategy to address the systemic challenges limiting women's participation in the economy, from limited access to finance and skills to gender-based constraints in both traditional and emerging sectors.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu emphasized the need for multi-sectoral partnerships and policy-driven strategies to unlock the full potential of women in Lagos.
The development of this roadmap underpins our robust engagement. You can see from the roadmap that was shown by Dr. Malele, the roadmap about a year ago, all of the various engagement, all of the various stakeholder validation exercise that you have gone through before we finally got in here. It has engaged various ministries, departments, both the private sector and the public sector.
Other stakeholders echoed similar views, underscoring the need for full implementation and urging women to remain focused and engaged.
This is not the time to set back. It is the time to press forward with deliberate actions. To all women across Lagos State, I say this to you with clarity and conviction. You matter. Your work matters. Your dreams matters. This is your moment. Step forward and take your place with pride and confidence.
The 5 priority areas outlined highlight where change is mostly needed. These pillars can drive sustainable economic empowerment for women, not only for Lagos, but across Nigeria, and would also promote sustainable development. For UN Women, this roadmap aligns perfectly with our mission to support governments and partners in creating an environment where gender equality is a practical goal.
Our mandate is clear: to protect and empower the women of Lagos State's true sustainable economic policy. Ladies and gentlemen, the empowerment of women is not a favor. It is an economic imperative, a social necessity, and a moral responsibility. When we invest in women, we are investing in families, communities, and the future of our nation.
A key highlight of the event was the inauguration of 40 Lagos Women's Economic Empowerment Policy Champions from both the public and private sectors. Tasked with driving implementation across the state, these champions will help ensure that policies deliver measurable impacts at the grassroots level. Joy Uchejim, TV360, Lagos.
It's time for a short break, but still to come on news now. Wrestling legend Hulk Hogan dies at 71. Details of this story right after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects.
Welcome back. Let's take you through a recap of our top stories. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Nentawe Yilwatda, has emerged as the new national chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC, following his nomination and election by the members of the National Executive Committee of the party. The 56-year-old from Plateau State takes over from Abdullahi Ganduje as the chairman of the party after Ganduje resigned from the position in June 2025, citing personal reasons. We also informed you that the Federal High Court in Lagos State has awarded 10 million naira in damages against the Nigerian police force for violating the right of EndSARS protesters during a memorial rally in 2024. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV, or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on X, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. It's now time for business news, and Simisola Adigun is on standby. What's the latest, Simisola?
Thank you, Okoyemi. Welcome to Business News. The House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream has rejected petitions seeking the suspension of the boards of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the committee chairman, Ikenga Ogochinyere, emphasized that the decision follows a thorough review of the performance of the NMDPRA under the leadership of Farouk Ahmed, which the committee describes as commendable. Ogochinyere reaffirms the committee's unwavering commitment to promoting sustainable economic development through objective and responsible oversight.
The committee also decided to dismiss the petition calling for dissolution of the NMDPRA and the regulatory body. And this is born out of the fact that we are framers of the PIA. We made those provisions. We created Section 14 sub C that talks about tenure of job. It is at the mercy of the president at the end of tenure. If he does not want to reappoint anybody, the president exercises that right and power not to reappoint the person. But we cannot go to what we used to have during the DPR era, where there was, leadership instability, policy inconsistency. Before pre-PIA, the investment you have today in the downstream sector, both the upstream and the downstream sector, which is in the neighborhood of over $20 billion now. You never had the choice. There was nobody that was coming to invest when there used to be DPR and so on. So it was a trading market then. But today, you can see the gas infrastructure. People have taken gas distribution license, they're building infrastructure. Modular refineries almost about 8 or 9 now running. Petrochemical plants are now running. Big refineries are now running. More petrol-related infrastructures is springing left, right, and center because the market is very clear. The policy is very clear. The process is very transparent. That is one of the key things the last administration and the present administration has also sustained to keep that clarity in the petroleum industry. So going by that, we cannot go after 20 years or thereabout of fighting to make the PIA, then we'll now return it back to whereby if there's any change of regime, somebody comes and says, sack everybody. When you start sacking people left, right, and center, policy starts to change. But if anybody is found wanting or haven't committed any offense, we are not defending the person. The relevant security agencies should be able to handle that particular.
A short break up next, and we'll return with a stock market report. Stay with us. Trading on Nigeria's equities market ended in positive territory, making it the fourth consecutive increase, this time by 0.48%. The market cap now stands at 84.7 trillion naira. In the aggregate, 129 NGX-listed equities participated in trading, ending with 46 gainers and 33 losers. Academy Press and FTN Cocoa Processors topped the gainers chart with a combined gain of 1,507 naira. Now, at the end of Thursday's trading session, a total of 818 million shares, corresponding to a market value of over 2 billion naira, were traded in 22,955 deals. Now, let's switch gears to the global scene. Two of our select equities, that's the UK's FTSE and Japan's Nikkei, ended trade in bullish territory. It's the reverse for the US Dow Jones, which bucked the trend in red. Back home in the forex market, the naira held steady, traded at 1,535 naira to the US dollar, 2,120 naira to the British pound, and 1,790 naira to the euro, signifying some stability in the middle of broader economic uncertainty. That's your business and stock report. Okoyemi has the rest of the news.
Thank you very much for the update, Simi. And on the foreign scene, a tragic aviation disaster struck Russia's Far East as a passenger plane carrying 48 people, including children, has crashed with no survivors reported. The Ministry of Civil Defense, Emergencies and Disaster Relief disclosed on Thursday that the AN-24 plane operated by Siberia-based Angara Airlines dropped off radar screens while approaching its destination, Tinda, a town in the Amur region bordering China. Authorities have confirmed that the burning wreckage was found by rescue helicopters approximately 16 kilometers from the town. And finally, on sport, professional wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died at the age of 71. Emergency services were dispatched to Hogan's Clearwater, Florida residence on Thursday after a call described a cardiac arrest incident. Hogan was a transformative figure in professional wrestling, hailed for bringing the sport into mainstream, family-friendly entertainment. He debuted in 1977 and rose to superstardom in the 1980s with the WWF, now WWE, headlining flagship event and becoming a 6-time WWF champion. And that's up our news bulletin on News Now at this time. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Okbayemi Owosheni. See you next time.